J.D. Van. Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Munson Tonight, where politics makes sense. Let's clap for that. Let's also welcome, of course, my Chief of Staff, Justin James.
Hola. Hello.
And the band with no name, the No Name Band. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, otherwise known as the White People's Freaknik. Let's clap all of you for that. Kinda, sorta. I also want to honor Women's History Month, because I'm a woman, you know, and all the women in the audience, right? And no, we aren't celebrating J.D. Vance and his midnight black eyeliner, but we are celebrating a bunch of childless cat ladies and all women's contributions to American history. I also want to honor one woman who decided to run for office, tried to spare us from everything happening now because she told us everything that would occur. That's right, you guessed it, Hillary Clinton. She's the reason I wear pantsuits. We got to clap for that, right? I also want to shout out to Kamala Harris, too. I'd much rather hear her laugh so hard right now than deal with Elon and Trump's entanglement. Speaking of the president, Elon Musk recently fathered his 14th publicly known child. And while Trump's various stretch marks might lead one to speculate, no, he didn't give birth to this one either. But if you have to put publicly known in air quotations to describe the amount of children you have, you might want to dodge, you get it, doge, got me, to figure out how many little Musks are running around this country. The bottom line here, y'all, is that Elon is screwing us all. For example, did we not see the White House infomercial for Tesla? I mean, Tesla, according to Trump, who is he? Medea, Tesla, hello. President Donald Trump turned the south lawn of the White House into a temporary Tesla showroom Tuesday. And protests against Musk's car company have already resulted in a major stock loss, including $127 billion in one day alone. Which is kind of funny if you think about it, because Trump is literally our first influencer president in chief. It's like he got his own Tesla discount promo code. Use Doge 47 for 10%. 10% off your next Cybertruck. Oh yeah, it's Rob's birthday. You can use that for your birthday code. You can get a truck. You can get a truck. And while I trust the used car salesman over Trump, there's a whole lot of hypocrisy in this latest stunt. So let me show you the car facts. 1, Trump frequently attacked electric vehicles during the last year's campaign, which is crazy. 2, it is extremely rare for a senior government official, let alone a sitting president, to endorse a consumer product so explicitly. For example, in 2017, when then Trump counselor Kellyanne Conway told Americans to buy from Ivanka's Trump clothing line, not to be confused with baby fat, she recently received a warning from a government ethics office, and I'm sure we probably don't even have an ethics office now. 3, they live streamed the event on X, the social media app owned by Musk, and I bet they used one of Elon's Starlink satellites too. So let's recap all of this, y'all. In 2 months, we've had a national auto show. Trump has dismantled government agencies, fired tens of thousands of government workers, then scrambled to hire hundreds of them back. Turns out they had some semi-important jobs like managing the nation's nuclear weapons. Who needs nuclear codes? Who needs them? And now he has countless wrongful termination lawsuits that have already been filed on behalf of federal workers across the nation. Where is B613 when you need them? In other news, earlier this month, President Trump addressed Congress for the first time since being reelected. His opening remarks set the tone for the night. They were, and I quote, America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and Stella got a groove back. You know, shout out to Angela Bassett, because I too want my groove back. Sorry, Mom. Anyways, in the 99-minute glorified rant entitled The Renewal of the American Dream, Trump rambled, of course, boasted, and then rambled some more about everything from the price of eggs that have not went down, tariffs, and peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. And in protest, many Democratic women arrived in the House chamber wearing pink pantsuits because nothing says taking a stance against fascism more than dressing like a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Still, Democrats looked about as uncoordinated during the address as they have since Trump took office in January. And this is my frustration with the Democratic Party. Exactly this. Get on the same page and find a better way to protest as a sign of unity. Frankly put, let's stay together. Speaking of staying together, Congressman Al Green of Texas was escorted out of the chamber by Sergeant-at-Arms after heckling the president during the address. His rebuke of Trump did not include love or happiness.
Ashley, that's the wrong Al Green.
Y'all know what I mean. You get it. You follow along. Rep Green, not the black one. I mean, the black one. This black one. Rep Green's outspoken his address. I made it so far without coughing. Led him to ultimately being censured by members of the House days later. A vote that included some of his own Democratic colleagues. There's a recurring theme here, chaos, if you're following me. And now Democrats are supposedly infighting after a U.S. has averted a government shutdown after the Senate passed a Republican-led measure, due in part to some of the Senate Democrats allowing the measure to pass. So let's talk about this for a second. On one hand, I think it's extremely important for the government to be funded, and although this proposal was for the next 6 months, with everything else going on, a budget stalemate will further plunge the country into disarray. But I will say this, many in the Democratic Party have been left abandoned by their leaders, some of whom, as they rather work to appease with Trump and rather them fight with him and his policies at every turn. Y'all know what I meant. I was basically saying people want to work with the government and some people don't want to work with the government, but the Democrats got to get it together. That's what I was trying to say. I guarantee you that Republicans would have never gotten to this point with Barack Obama or Joe Biden, whether it made sense or not, and most times it didn't. Their opposition was staunch and unified, and that is something the Democrats can't seem to figure out right now. So next, we'll pivot to one nation that is unified against becoming the 51st state. Canada. They've announced tariffs to retaliate against the U.S., and they are not playing around. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be funny. Starting Thursday, they're slapping a 25% tariff, which is 20.1 billion USD worth of American goods, y'all. That's things like steel and aluminum, hopefully not hookah. For a friend, not for me, Justin. No. Not for me. Could be for you, right?
We listen and we don't judge.
No. Now, for those who don't know, let's do some one-on-one here. A tariff is basically a tax on imported goods. The idea is to make foreign products more expensive so that people buy American. It's like when your mom refused to buy the name brand cereal, so you had to eat Fruity Circles instead of Fruit Loops. Like, they're not the same at all. They don't even have the same name. Trump loves these tariffs. He says they're great for the economy. But this is kind of the same thing when he said Mexico would pay for the wall, because last time I checked, they sent an invoice back that said LMAO. And let's be real, companies don't just eat the cost of tariffs, y'all. They pass it on to us, the consumers. Love them or hate them, I know y'all hate them, President Biden maintained and left office with a stable economy, especially given the fact that he was elected in the midst of a global pandemic. Under Biden, employment was down, inflation was cooling off, and the only Canadian we had beef was with Drake. Much simpler times. Much simpler times. We got a good show ahead of us. Let's clap for that. We have our guest, Alderman Stephaine Coleman. Are you guys ready for the show?
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this.
Sandy Zopp, the host of Chicago Newsroom 2.0. Every week, we gather for insightful conversations with local journalists and community leaders as we discuss the news of the day and how it impacts the lives of Chicagoans. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
For more than 40 years, CAN-TV has been Chicago's voice, your voice. We've shared your stories, amplified your concerns, and celebrated your triumphs. Now we want to hear from you. What programs matter most? What issues should we cover? How can we better serve your community? Visit cantv.org/feedback today. CAN-TV. Experience the power of community television.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. This week in other news, I'll sit in conversation and community with former Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx. We'll talk about her legacy, the many highs and lows from her time in office, and what you need to know about holding those currently in office accountable. Kim Foxx, in her own words. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back to Munson Tonight Live. Our special guest, let's clap for that. Thank you, Justin. Before we get into our special guest, y'all, I was sick for the past 2 weeks, so you heard me coughing. God is faithful because I made it through, and I'm gonna make it through this next segment. Let's clap for that. Thank you, nephews. Now, our special guest is a leader who has dedicated her life to serving Chicago. She's been fighting for affordable housing, small businesses, and opportunities for the next generation. She's bold, she's passionate, and she's here tonight. Give it up for the powerhouse and trailblazer, 16th Ward Alderwoman, Stephaine Coleman. Let's clap for her. I'm so happy you're here.
I am so excited, and I am so proud of you and your faithfulness and consistency.
All right.
I love Friday's post, by the way. It gets me live.
Thank you. I do Friday posts that kind of break up. I love that. Break up the politicalness on my page that just show how crazy I am. I do want to give one disclaimer. Don't know what camera I'm looking at. I'm looking at that one. When I said Barbie girl in a Barbie world, I wasn't talking about her, okay? I did not know she was wearing a pink suit today, but she stands by what she's talking about. I was talking about the congressional folks, not Alderwoman. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer. How are you? How have you been?
Amazing. Things are rising. The 16th Ward is exemplifying excellence every day.
Love that. And we love that you're on the south side. I know we got some west siders that's watching and that's in the building, but for today's sake, Chicago, we're just united on the same
certainly.
front. Same front. It is Women's History Month, right? And I think what better way to have Alderman Stephaine Coleman here and to talk about her journey. So let's talk about a little bit of your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'm just a girl from Inglewood who grew up in not only the political landscape, but also the church.
Love that.
Which is my roots. It's where I'm grounded in. And I was finishing my master's in nonprofit management. And I heard about the opening of this Whole Foods grocery store at the age of 26. And I decided to run for office because I didn't understand why the most expensive grocery retailer was coming to one of the poorest neighborhoods at the time in 2014 when Inglewood has just been stricken with such a poor narrative of crime, gangs, drugs. And I wanted to really show community, and being a young person, really show my community that we deserve better, we deserve more, and we deserve a transparent process of who and what comes in our community.
Yeah, you were 26?
I was 26.
Oh my God, I didn't know you were 26.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Where did you go to get your master's?
Spertus
that.
Institute.
Love that. Well, we thank you for all that you do. So, as chairwoman of the Chicago Automatic Black Caucus and a representative of the South Side, which we've cleared, is not the West Side, but we're in unity tonight. Chicago has undergone significant transformation in recent years, and that's across the board. From construction, I know a lot of y'all went through some traffic to get here today, but we won't talk about that today. What's the most pressing challenge you've recently faced, and what's pressure, vision, and overcoming it. And it can be automatic. It can be as a Black woman in office. But what's one challenge you want to mention?
Yeah, I'll share right now. I am the first African American woman to chair the Black Caucus, and it's a challenge being a woman in this space.
Yeah.
Not only representing the South Side, but our Black Caucus is made up of the West Side and also now the North Side. We have 3 Black Caucus members in the 46th, 47th, and 49th Ward. So there is a moving dynamic of our tales of Chicago's, right? There are definitely different tales of Chicago, and certainly their reality is not our reality.
Yeah.
I find right now, my most recent pressing issue is Blacks doing business with the city of Chicago. When I look at cities like Atlanta and Detroit, where Black millionaires were actually birthed authentically from their city and from government, specifically their airport, Blacks have not had that same opportunity here. And you made it, you said the best statement, we are more than construction jobs.
Yeah.
Blacks are excellent at professional services.
For sure.
We are engineers. We are in tech. We are amazing lawyers, especially women. We are in government, in compliance. There are so many other avenues that African Americans can shine in, and it is our duty to make sure that African Americans are represented just as we are in the city, but that we do business. The same 33% that represents, we should be doing more than 2% of Black business in Chicago.
It's so interesting when I think about the guests that have been on this season and last season. I feel like the theme is Black business, economic development, and finding ways how Black people can be a part of that engine beyond Chicago. I think for the whole state and for the country. So that's really interesting about Black businesses and fighting for them to be here and fighting for them to have jobs that go beyond what our stereotypical jobs are, right? So before I get to the next question, how do you focus on keeping a level head when you come against opposition, right? I know there are times in city council where you struggle to get things passed, or initiatives don't seem to be going as fast. Like, how do you as a Black woman try to hold on to what you believe as a woman of faith, right? And a person that knows what you're fighting for? How do you keep your composure?
Pray.
My God. She said pray for those who didn't hear her.
Pray. Women, we have the unique ability, we're just better legislators, and we know how to calm down, how to legislate appropriately by putting our heart in the work. But we see what's happening in City Council, and I am so grateful to the Women's Caucus, chaired by Alderwoman Nicole Lee. We were able to work together and get a budget passed, not because of others, but it was because of the sound and mature minds of the 18 women that represent the city of Chicago, because the boys are crazy.
She said that I didn't. Well, shout out to, during Women's History Month, shout out to you all getting it done. I really appreciate that. So now we got to talk a little bit about City Council, Mayor Johnson a little bit. I'm not going to throw too much at you. But Mayor Johnson told political allies the city was undergoing a new Reconstruction era, right? An allusion to the period of rapid but ultimately halted Black advancement after the Civil War. Do you agree?
So, Black leadership is shaping Chicago. Certainly,
For sure.
Mayor Johnson has been the force to really discuss those hard topics of what we have historically as Blacks. I do think that now it's more than the talk. It's time to execute.
I agree.
For whomever sits on the fifth floor. And I think, I know that Mayor Johnson has spoken, and some of his aspirations are, I want to be here 23 years, right? More than 23 years. And I just hope that the infrastructure around this administration is able to execute this new construction era that the mayor is speaking of. Certainly we've got the right tools, right? We've got Sierra Boatwright, who's our Commissioner of Department of Planning and Development, Charlotte Roberts, a Black woman, Charlotte Roberts, our Chief Procurement Officer, to ensure that minorities, specifically Blacks, are doing business with Chicago, another Black woman. In Department of Buildings, we have Commissioner Marlene Hopkins, who practically wrote the codes to ensure not only businesses are up to par, that home owners, right? People can lose their homes based off of city violations. Another Black woman. So with this infrastructure, it can happen, but certainly there's more work to be done.
There's so much more. Mayor Johnson was here a few episodes ago, and he was talking about all his achievements and everything he's working on. And I can't help but think now in the climate we're in, federal, state, and city-wise, like there is so much going on. I'm not going to talk about the Orange Man, but and his wife, Elon. I just think there's so much like that we should really focus on as a city. And so I would love to get your opinion. I think I asked this to Alderwoman Taylor when she was here last time. Like, we can talk about Johnson, we can talk about violence in Chicago, a lot of necessary topics, but what should we be focusing on, right? Because we can talk about eggs, we can talk about inflation, we can talk about all these things, but from your perspective, Alderwoman, like what should Black people, white people, people in Chicago, let's take color out of it for a second, but Chicago, what should we be focused on in this time and in this era?
Irregardless of who sits in the White House, tan or no tan, Bay and them or whomever, politics is local. Yeah. And I'd say all the time, politics is local, and irregardless of DC. If more and more people are woke, right, of the legislative process, of just what's happening in your own communities. Chicago is a target for DC, so I don't think we should get so involved in flipping Chicago red and, you know, get riled about whatever is happening. One thing about this city, who was voted #1 city in the U.S. the other day, by the way.
Period.
But we are resilient. Yeah, Black, white, brown, purple, green. I mean, we are a melting pot of a resilient, amazing city that everyone talks about. Everyone wants to be us. And they obviously want to visit our city, as they have for the last 5 decades.
You know what's not resilient? Potholes. The asphalt in the streets, we got to figure out we got to use asphalt or something different.
Certainly a new material. We should let the CDOT know.
Yeah, environmental friendly. Yeah, I'm going to tell my alderman.
And they're expensive.
Let them know.
It's expensive.
I believe it. Yeah. But if I get one more tire, if I need a new tire, I'm going to send it to Alderman Ronnie Mosley, because that's my alderman. Sorry, tangent. Last question for you. You talked about faith and how that basically groomed you and prepared you to be where you are today. What's your thought on being a Christian and in office? Because you have the evangelical take, right? Like they believe Trump is I saw an article today that called Trump an apostle, which is crazy. And this man sent from God. They even had a service that a lady was praise dancing. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? She was praise dancing in church and was painting Trump. And I was like, that's awkward. And I go to a Pentecostal church and, you know, they're weird too. But from your perspective, what's your thoughts on how are you able to be Christian and in office? Like how are you able to be both and?
It is difficult. My faith has been tested.
I believe that.
You know, there have been some knuck if you buck moments in city council, seriously, amongst my colleagues. Decorum has lacked at times amongst, again, we see on the news. There are people that are angry here in the city of Chicago, not just one community, there are all communities that are angry. And this is a moment where we need hope. Yeah. We need more investment and activities that bring us together than to divide us.
I agree.
You know, we're still a very much so segregated city, but certainly we're an amazing city if we can all just get along and come together. Truly, we are all God's children. And so that's always been my perspective of different religions, of just coming together.
Well, y'all heard it here. Church folks, get it together. We got work to do. Let's take a moment and clap for Alderwoman Stephaine Coleman.
Thank you.
We are so grateful to have you. Next time you come, we're gonna get you some merch and some things. Maybe a pink hoodie or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, like pink. That color pink or like a darker pink?
I like this pink.
Got you.
Barbie
Again, I was not
girl
talking
in
about her, a
Inglewood.
Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Yes.
That was not to her.
You know the representatives of the colors.
Of course, always. We just love you so much. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hi, I'm financial educator Tamara Durbin. On the next episode of In the Money, we'll talk about investing your way, stock market versus real estate, with my guests Charles Clemens, Deion Smith, and E.J. Williams. Join the conversation exclusively on CAN TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Elevated conversation and storytelling, experience the power of community television.
CAN TV is the lens through which Chicago's stories are told, harnessing the unifying power of community television. With CAN TV On Demand, immerse yourself in the richness of our city through exclusive stories and programs tailored just for you, connecting you to the heartbeats of our streets, the voices of our people, and the spirit that makes Chicago unique. Discover the strength of your community on CAN TV On Demand. For more than 40 years, CAN TV has been Chicago's voice, your voice. We've shared your stories, amplified your concerns, and celebrated your triumphs. Now we want to hear from you. What programs matter most? What issues should we cover? How can we better serve your community? Visit cantv.org/feedback today. CAN TV. Experience the power of community television.
Every community has a story, a pulse, a voice waiting to be heard. At CAN TV, we bring these stories to life, from the heart of Chicago to your living room. Join us in supporting hyper-local television. Your backing helps us cover what matters directly in our communities, unfiltered and upfront. Help tell the important stories of our communities. Become a program underwriter today.
That was WGCI. No, that was really good, man. You know, we're a few episodes out from the season and we still don't have a name. Is that my fault? Maybe. Could be. No name. I still like no name band, so we'll just go with that. Back to the script. So here's the thing, right? History matters. Women's history matters. And in a world where some folks are trying to erase the past, it is our job to make sure the truth doesn't just survive, it thrives. Because without women's history, we wouldn't know about Sojourner Truth's fighting for justice, Shirley Chisholm's shattering ceilings, or the countless women today still making history. So keep learning, keep speaking up, and keep making history, women, because the future is watching. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Stay informed, stay engaged, and like myself, stay loud. And remember, politics only matters because you do. Good night, everybody.